Hey y'all, it's Free Kong here back with my second video. Still grinding a little bit of 10-0 Blitz, and I've been on a little bit of a downswing lately. So we will see how well I will do in this episode. Hopefully I will not continue downswinging. I think a hand that I had of notable importance, I had pocket 8s on a 9-9-8 board in a 3-bet pot and went all in and on the flop. Opponent had jacks and hit jack on the turn. So not much to do there. Here with, I guess we'll start it up here. Here with ace 10 off, we will call on the big blind. I apologize if it's going to be a little laggy to start. And here, I mean, this is, the funny thing is, I guess you could bet range, but also it's a little weird of a board to bet range. We're just going to fold though. And hopefully we can break out of this cycle, because it would be nice, definitely. Fold ace 10. Sometimes we're 3-betting this. Nice to be breaking out of a little bit of a slump. Jack 10 suited. I don't even see how many people are in this pool. 105, so probably like normal-ish sizing, maybe a little bit on the big side. Jack 10 suited. Here, out of position, I will fold. Here, we're just going to 3-bet. Very easy. Of course, I don't love getting 4-bet here, but this is what we will go with. Ace King on an 8-8-3 board. We will be betting here. Can have all the King Jack, King Queen, whatever. We'll throw in a range bet on this board. We also have kings, we have queens, we have aces, we have all of this stuff that wants to continue. On this turn, this is where we get into a little bit of uncharted territory. I guess we check. This is quads. We're just gonna check this one back. He's gonna have like 9s, 10s. Yeah, that makes sense. Just gonna call here with the 8s, and I think we have a pretty easy call on the turn. I don't think we need a raise necessarily. It's a pretty interesting river. I guess we're going to block here. I don't think that we have to go bigger. Any folds. Here on the Jack 2-2 board, check, check. I'm going to check the turn. I think we also of course value in betting. And here we are going to be putting in a bigger size bet. He's going to call his ace X. So I think that's what we'll do. If he raises, it's a weird spot. Also, I apologize if I'm not going to be talking as much as the first video. I have a little bit of a cold, and I've been feeling like a little bit out of it lately. Could also be potentially why I'm downswinging a little bit. I'm sure my play is a little bit off. So if you see me do something really weird, if you've been in like the pools and watched me actually like donk it off, possibly could be why. Fold, fold. Let's see, fold here. 3s, of course, will be opening, but we won't be doing much calling in the small blind. And it's getting a little bit laggy. I'm sorry, my computer's got a little bit old, so sometimes it's going to be a little bit laggy, and sometimes it's going to be fine. Let me just make sure I'm going. Yep. Here we're going to be raising. And here folding, especially considering it 10-8 on this board. I would imagine we have a lot of big bets, because that's just kind of what our hand strength wants to do. I don't think I can be really barreling this board. I think I want to be doing a lot of checking on this turn. The 8 is pretty irrelevant, and he shouldn't. The thing is, he's very polarized having an ace or a queen here. And he shouldn't bet his queen X. So when he's betting, so I think we're likely losing against the queen. Jack 10 doesn't really get to call, I think, for that size. Maybe I'm wrong. But I was going to say we're also beating some stuff. I think against the bigger sizing, he has a lot of folds. Oh, maybe I have to barrel on the turn. Against Iggy J, we're going to be doing a lot of calling here. Here, not much to do besides fold. Going to be doing a lot of calling with jacks in position here. Yep, pretty easy call. Against the 4-8-7 board, I think we have a jam. We also have a call. This is a weird spot. I guess we're just going to jam. We don't have hearts. He has queens. He has kings. Tens. Yep. Nice. Interesting spot. Maybe a jam's incorrect. But I just think that our action slows down a lot on many turns. So I'm thinking with hearts, with whatever, with hands that want to do that, nines, we probably just want to be getting it in. This is quite an incredible flop. Although I don't think necessarily our hand participates very well from raising. So we're just going to call here and hope we bank it. Very easy call on turn, of course. And here, I guess we check and then we call rivers. I don't think we need a value bet. Queen Jack, wow, that's fucking crazy hand. That would have been quite nuts if we did raise. Folding here. And the really nice thing about making these kind of videos, just for me personally, yeah, I can, of course, I'm submitting this through YouTube, whatever, but it makes me really focus a lot, right? So there's certain situations that I would be doing some really dumb shit. Here, I think we can just call it ace jack suited, and it makes me really focus up. Interesting flop. He has a lot of checks on this board. He also has a lot of bigger bet sizings. So we'll see what he decides to do. Against this isn't. I don't know if this is really a thing on this board. We're definitely calling though, and we're going to be calling the turn for most sizings. He donks here. I don't really get it. Here we're just going to be calling. Very easy call with open-ended. And I guess we check here. Queens. I could also just jam. I just don't see what is jamming. Maybe I like a jam better. I guess I just don't understand what we're. And here we're gonna pick the block sizing. And we can do this with our Jack X. I would be blocking my Jack X. We get to fold out ace high here, so I think that this is a good bluff. And if he calls his ace high, it's a bad bluff. But king 9. Yeah, that's not what we're getting to fold, so here we're just gonna call against the fish. I could also raise. I don't really see that much of a reason to raise. I think I probably should be raising this turn, to be honest. Okay, what is he doing? Okay. Here we are going to raise. Okay. I don't really understand what he's doing. I just don't think that we're getting much value. I think that we actually get the most value when he does this. I also apologize for the lag. It is lagging a little bit. So the interesting spots already. Very weird as to what I'm supposed to do there. Because again, you can't study these lines through solver work with a guy donking out for one big blind. But it probably is too nitty. I probably need to raise. Here we're going to do a lower frequency 3-bet with queen 2 suited. Probably isn't as much of a thing solver-wise. But I think exploitatively we can do this a lot because people are opening way too wide and not defending properly. Yeah. Yeah, I apologize. It is extremely laggy, beyond belief. So maybe I'm gonna have to cut this video short. Hopefully not. I might also just switch to one tabling. Just to close this. It makes some sort of difference. What happens if I just close the table? I think I could probably run one table and be good. It's not gonna lag for me if I run one table. Yeah. Stop lagging. So here we're just going to check and try to shut it down. So unfortunately, I guess we're just going to do one table for most of this video. But it's good because it gets me to focus a lot on spots, so it's fine. We're still going to be playing a bunch of hands. Here, ace-5 suited. It's going to be a weird spot against Y-raise. Because, like, exploitatively, we're supposed to be jamming this a lot. Here, we're going to get to call and 4-bet. I think I'm going to call this time. I'm saying, of course, if he 3-bets, if not, we can just move on to the next hand. Fold. Suited opening. We're going to get 3-bet here, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's Y-raise. He always loves to. Deeper probably is a call. No. This is weird. I guess out of position now, we're going to fold. Maybe if he was deeper, we would call. I just think that it's going to be really... Well, there go our... That's unfortunate. But I think it's just a very hard hand to play. I think ace-4 suited. Like ace-5 suited maybe is a little bit easier in some ways. But I think that if he was deeper, it's a mandatory call. This sizing on this flop is like I have an overpair. And then here, so this is where we get into a weird spot with something like ace-4 suited, where we have to call off. When we hit quads, of course, on the river. What a fucking life we live. Jesus Christ. Y-raise is going to have an overpair. I just don't know what overpair he has. Probably we're going to see something to the tune of kings or queens here. I don't think he's checking back. I think it's a bet. And it's going to be a bet for like 30 big blinds or something. Goes all in. Yeah, I mean, this seems probably actually right. But he should be mixing this with a hand like ace-king, which I don't know if he is. This is a fish. He has no flats. Yeah, I mean, this is very thin, but it's what it is. So that was all another interesting hand. Maybe we're supposed to call there. I don't know. I think it just is a hand that plays really poorly. And we're just going to have to fold a lot of flops. Like, yeah, of course, when we flop 4-4-4, then we're doing very well. But in general, I think it's a hand that is going to have to fold. We would have won all the money there. That's unfortunate. I don't think Y-raise is folding queens there. No, he's a big net. I don't think he's folding queens. And Jax probably has to... I mean, Jax is calling against a player who's capable of making bluffs. I might, against Y-raise, fold Jax. Just because this guy's fucking the biggest stain. Like, he should be doing this with ace-king. If he's going to be mixing it with queens, aces, and kings. Like, he should find bluffs. But he's not going to find the bluffs. He's just going to check the bluffs back. Which is... That's what it is. Here... Aggie Mike is going to overbet like this board. Not overbet, but he's going to bet too much for a c-bet sizing, which I don't think is necessarily a thing a lot on this board. I think there's actually a lot of checks here. And the reason why, so if we want to start exploiting, the reason why you're checking, I think, a decent amount on that board is because we can just start check raising it. And he's going to have to fold all his like King X, his Queen X, everything that's betting that board. Because he's just going to get absolutely owned if he just over c-bets that board. What the fuck is this? 5-bet all on the 6-9 suited. Okay. Let's flop something. If I was going to pick the best flop for King 7 suited of spades, this might be close to it. I'm very interested though to see how this kind of runs out. 7, we're gonna see barreling on the turn, and he would barrel with any ace. I mean, so it's just not even, he's mixing value with diamonds or whatever. I assume we have an ace here, and I assume this is just some spew. What the fuck? What bets for this sizing? 8-9. And he's betting the flop? Jesus Christ. Okay, okay. Too much for me, too much for me. I would just jam the river, sir. I wouldn't even overbet, just jam that shit. If he's calling it overbet, he's going to call it jam. Then we have Stain. Okay. 10's here. Against Tio, I think we can flat sometimes. I don't think we necessarily want to put a lot of money in against Tio, because Tio is going to be overcalling a bunch of stuff. So this hand plays really well as just something that will realize equity. Okay, against this sizing, I think we can fold. I mean, like, I think hypothetically, in theory, this should be a call, but I think that against this player who's just going to be doing crazy shit, we can start folding our 10s. And it's a tight fold. Like, I think that 10s should be continuing a bunch on that flop, considering the strength it has and considering the backdoors we have. But against this player, I think we will fold. So it's nice to take it down. As you see, like, I think that I am playing probably nittier than GTO strategy, and the reason is just that the pool is going to be nittier. So I'm adjusting a little bit. Maybe you think that that's wrong, and that I'm just completely a donk. Here we have an interesting hand to actually just check raise, because he's going to be betting all his hands receive at sizing. So I think raising here, blocking King Jack, King 10, a lot of his hands that would do it. Yeah, I think this makes sense, because he's just going to be c-betting here a ton, which he should be, to be fair. I think that is a board that he should have a lot more than we should. Suited. Okay, this will just be a call. I think looking back on the ace-jack suited hand, I should be jamming it on river. I could also be checking, because if he's bluffing, he's going to be bluff jamming that river. But I think it's all likelihood we are against like queens. Although I don't think queens should be betting the turn. I think queens probably can be pretty easily checking the flop and checking the turn even as well, to be honest. This is, again, a while back in the ace-jack suited hand of clubs. Because I'm trying to think about his 1/3 sizing on the flop, and I don't really think it makes much sense. I think if he's going to bet, you should be going bigger. Like, what is he trying to target? Like, if he goes bigger and bigger on the turn than our hand, like ace-jack suited, could even fold the flop, to be honest. Can we get raised, please? Nope. I'll just take it down with kings on the bug blind. The bug blind. And 7 will be an open. Folding 10, he raises, of course, here. Okay. I'm very tired the past couple of days. It's hard to maintain focus when you're tired. So I haven't been playing that much. Like, I guess we're going to be betting the flop a lot with this hand. Blocking his ace-10, blocking his queen-10 with backdoor clubs. Calls, and just checking on turns that just don't favor us. So this will now just be a give up. And I assume we're just going to see a big bet here. Yeah. Pretty right. About right. About right. Of course, we're barreling with that hand when we do pick up equity. So if a club came, if a jack came, if a king came, we're barreling on all those turns. Just not really a turn that we want to be barreling on. Okay, it's very hard though to navigate pots where there's 3 people, because it's not really a GTO play to be navigating pots like that. I mean, maybe like a lot of button, big blind, and under the gun pots or something like that are possible, but it's just not a very GTO spot. We will mark this guy as a fish. I probably should be labeling more people in session, but I tend to not as much. I tend to just kind of review hands and then label. Okay, raising. This is weird. Okay, no, it's not weird. So I was gonna say we could have a flatting range with twos. This small blind, it might be a little loose, but we're trying to play a lot of pots with people like this. But this is like I have the nuts. Really have the nuts. I mean, this should just go in. What is he doing? He's 3-bet folding against the short. What? I'm surprised. I feel like his 3-betting range is a lot tighter. Like he has probably a lot more linear of a 3-bet range, but linear in the sense that it's like linear to like middling, like strong middle hands to extremely strong hands. Like he cuts out all his weaker hands. Like maybe lowest cusp that you can do there is a hand like King Jack suited maybe. I don't even think you can 3-bet like pocket pairs. You're pretty easy to defend with Jack 10. We get a pretty good flop. So see you at the river most likely. Picks the bigger sizing. Easy call. This is just a shit turn, but it's also a turn he'll overbluff. We'll see about sizing. 15.2 I think makes a lot of sense in terms of the sizing. And when he bets on the river, I think our hand has to fold. I think he has sets here. He can play the psych. I think he also has missed hearts. He has both. But I think that if we're going to pick a hand, like this is pretty good sizing. If we're going to pick a hand to call down with, I mean, this is a pretty good hand, but I would like to have a little more in terms of strength. Like maybe that we have ace jack, jack queen. Jack queen's going to be calling this, so I think I can easily fold jack 10 and be in a good place and not remain exposed. Sorry, that is a phone. Oish. Goldman Sachs is calling my apartment. I have no clue why. We're gonna be raising 8-3 suited. I apologize for this. And probably, we can be betting here. We could also be checking. I expect to see some jams, but it's what it is. I'm so sorry about this. This is my brother. Hopefully no one hears it. I'm just gonna speak over it so no one can hear it. But someone was just reaching out from Goldman Sachs to talk to my brother. So folding here. Let's see. So we're approaching the 30-minute mark, and it's been a kind of a slow session, so I will continue it for a little more. But this is just generally going to be a slower session, and it's going to be more so me focusing on certain spots as opposed to trying to do table. I just want to get a little bit, easing back from a downswing, focusing on spots, etc. Here we're just going to 4-bet get this one in. Think about the size that we want to use, probably 22.5 is right. And of course, we're not going to be folding here. If he jams, even though we are likely losing. And the reason why, so like we could exploit fold there with jacks, it'd probably be fine, but in terms of pot odds, we have to call because he has so many combos of ace-king that we're beating. Against the whale here, this is so annoying. Like this is where it just becomes really, okay, it's not annoying anymore. We're just going to bet big against the whale and just bet big, bet big, bet big is going to be our strategy. Bet big. I prefer to just call. Alright, that's gorgeous river. We have the nuts. Come on, jam it in. Jam it in. Yeah, we have the nuts. Ace-10. 7-8, no good. 7-8 hearts, no good. So that was quite... This is the reason. So we can be jamming a hand like ace-jack there, especially against this kind of player, but we want to give him room. Like, I want to give him room to do it with, like ridiculous hands like 7-8 suited, especially because he's a whale. So there we go. That's a session saver right there. Right, so like the idea is that when we have a hand like Ace Jack, he's gonna have some hearts and stuff that he's raising. He's gonna have whatever. I do want to just give him room. I mean, like, our hand does need some protection, of course, but we also have a diamond in our hand, so it's less likely he has diamonds. It's more likely he has other Ace X, or he has a speed with Ace 10, of course. But I don't actually see a reason why you'd be raising so big on the turn. Maybe Ace 10. I was thinking more likely he had a weaker Ace X than us, and he was jamming. I didn't think he had something as weak as 7-8 of hearts. Here we're just going to be check folding. Again, it's going to be a spot where this guy's going to be c-betting too wide. Good. That's a good check. Huh. Well done. And then we're probably going to see bet on the turn? No. Do we have to bluff this combo? All is King X, all is whatever. I guess we can start overbetting on the river with Jack Queen. Yeah, I like it. And the reason is, I think that like a blocker bet there doesn't make sense, because I think if we're betting, we don't really want to be betting our 5s and 6s. So we're betting our 8x and we're betting our flushes that are checking, or our Ace X that checks, and just saying, hey, call us with your 5s, call us with your lower pocket pairs, call us with your King X, have fun. So I think that makes a lot of sense. Here, I guess we'll fold Jack 10 suited. I don't think that we are pure raising this. I think we're probably folding this sometimes. Of course, I'm going to be over folding a little more from out of position, just because it's just, people do such crazy shit that it's going to be a lot harder for us to play out of position than in position. We had the nut. I think we had the nuts on the Ace Jack board, right? Because he can only have Ace 10. So nuts. Sounds like nuts to me. Here, weird spot. Okay, not so weird anymore. Probably going about half sizing or 3/4. We can do either. We're definitely not going small. Yeah, and he folds, unfortunately. We've been running pretty hot. Definitely, for sure. Here we have probably raises and we have calls. I'm going to elect to call this one. And we get not a great board for us. Although he should also not be c-betting this too often. We can see what sizing he's going to choose, and then debate what we want to do because of that. Checking. We're going to be checking turn. Yeah, I actually like his check a lot. I think this check makes a lot of sense. And then he can bet, of course, the turn pretty easily. But I think we're going to see a lot of checks on the turn. We could be checking with our Jack X. And here, just trying to show this one down. He's going to have worse Ace X for sure. So now if he bets, it's a little bit confusing to me, because it's like, what are you betting on the river? So this is an interesting spot. I don't think he's checking back at Jack twice. We also don't have diamonds. I prefer to have a diamond, I think. He has like 9s, I think, that would take this line. So I guess I'll just fold. Definitely an interesting spot, though, that we probably have to call at some frequency. Just because, like, if we start folding all our Ace Queen, then he can just start bluffing all his King X that would take the same line. And I think his King X is less incentivized to be taking that line, to be honest. So I think we're up against a lot of like medium, smallish pocket pairs. Let's see how long are we on the video right now. Oh, we're only about 30 minutes in. Interesting. So yeah, I'll probably run it for like 10 more minutes and then call it or something like that. But definitely has been a productive session, where one hand has definitely made us a shit ton of money off some whale, just jamming it in with 8-7 suited. Although, like, I guess he has a very good hand to jam, in the sense that he unblocks diamonds, but 8-7 also unblocks all our value hands. So it's weird. Like, I am put in a really tough spot with a hand like Ace Jack if like the river comes like a queen. I think I'm probably against this player having to call, but I am put in a very weird spot where it's like he's gonna have all sets, all whatever. And I was expecting him to have value is the thing. I wasn't expecting to see a pure bluff like 8-7 suited. I think that that is a hand that is not usually going to be in his range. Like, I think he's going to have a lot of lower ace X, like a hand like even like King 10 that somehow wants to raise. For whatever reason, he's doing some weird shit. I just don't expect him to have like a pure bluff. Here we're going to have to 3-bet. This is really annoying, but it's going to be a 3-bet. Weird spot here if we get jammed on, but I think we're folding. Here we can 3-bet. We can also call. I think I'm going to elect for a call here. Well, neither. We get a fold. Very nice. Always nice to take it down with 10 high. If I'm not mistaken, I think King 5 suited becomes an open, like maybe it's even opening slightly under the gun, but it becomes an open on, for sure, on the hijack, I think. And if not the hijack, I mean 100% on the cutoff, or just pure opening on the cutoff. But it might be mixing on the hijack, and it might be opening low frequency and under the gun. So I know that King 5 suited is supposed to be one of your bluffing hands as well. I don't know why, in the sense that, like, Ace 5 suited has straight potential, but King 5 it doesn't. I guess you're just choosing a hand, and it just so happens that King 5 and Ace 5 line up. But maybe it makes more sense you choose King 6, because then they won't expect it. I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird, like, I think there's a lot of stuff that the solver does that I just simply don't understand. I guess the reason why you're choosing a 5 is that you have the down straight potential, and the 6 doesn't. Like, you can start bluffing your Ace X. Ace 5 aces straight. If that, I'm not making any sense right here, but it's very confusing to me as well. Yeah. It's like dippy. It's just not 2.5 isn't really a thing, but it's fine. It's probably okay actually. I mean, it isn't a thing in the sense that, like, maybe if you're opening 2x, you can have a 2.5, but you should be raising a little more big. We're not usually doing this. And I'm tired. This guy has been 3-betting us a bunch. I don't think he's a fish. I think he's more of just a reg. Yeah, that's the thing about one tabling. It's just going to be, like, less of him talking over stuff. Why raise here? I mean, like, I can honestly probably fold 6s against why raise, because I just don't think I'm getting enough value. I'm wrong. And here we're going to have to do a lot of folding. Yeah, I think we're going to be folding this flop with 6s. I wonder now, like, if it was like a 10-8-2 board, if we're supposed to continue. But I think the jack is not a great card, and I think that our hand is just really tough to deal with. This is going to be annoying, I can already tell. If we get 4-bet, I think I can just fold jacks. Okay, here we're just going to be checking this board. Checks back. They shouldn't have much 3x, so I'm not really worried. Okay, calling here. I think we do have to call. I think this hand functions pretty well as a call. I think we're going to see some, like, weird ace-3 suited sometimes. We're also just going to see this, which is just, I think, overplaying because he's like, you don't have 3x. But the thing is, neither really does he. So if we're thinking about what 3x he has simply pocket 3s. I don't really think any other 3x he has. Because a3 suited he shouldn't have. Because I don't think it's calling a 3-bet, if I'm not mistaken. So he has, in terms of value, what he has is he has 5x that's raising. He has 2 pairs. some of which are counterfeited. It's just very, very weird. Here, I think we can check with the club, and we're going to be very easily calling on the turn. Now, if this guy raises, we're going to be folding. I just think this is too much. Too ambitious to be calling here with tens. But here, we have a very easy continue. And we break everything. And here, yeah, I mean, we're just easily checking back. You can have missed club stuff. You can have 6x. You can also have king 8. What the fuck is that? But yeah, going back to the hand where we had jack. So if he's thinking logically about that bluff, it is such a bad bluff. And the reason why it's such a bad bluff with king queen, and I'm sure he was just donkeying off, is for a couple reasons. He didn't have a heart. I don't know if you noticed. So not having a heart, of course, is bad. But he's representing such a thin value range. So if he's going to choose his bluffs, he's got to choose his bluffs very, very, very carefully. And so, like, let's say maybe he decides that king queen is like one of his 2 bluffs that he's going to use in that scenario, because his range is bluffing. Like, he can't really bluff us off of much when we're betting the turn, because I don't think a lot of our hands want to be betting the turn. So when we're betting the turn, we have, of course, the ace of hearts, we have over pairs, we have some 5-6x, and once we're doing stuff, we also just generally have bluffs that are going to be folding out. But when he raises us on the turn, our hands are pretty much capped at a value range / like a pretty strong drawing hand. So if he's bluffing, pure bluffing on the river, like a hand like king, queen off, the hands that we're folding out are like the ace of hearts hands, etc. Stuff like that. But all of our pocket pairs, all of our 5x, all of our 6x, he's just calling. So this fucker just never ever. I should be going bigger. You just never ever like fucking raises or anything. He just limps. And if he raises, we're just gonna fold because he just never raises. So here we have a pretty clear bet. You want to be going on the bigger sizing, and we're gonna be checking the turn with our range. He might like cooler himself into just betting really big, but our hand plays pretty standardly here. That's just the call. And we're going to be check folding river. We can win sometimes against missed clubs. Not really, though. But going back to that hand where he was bluffing, because I think it's a very interesting spot. We're just going to see some limp or something here, right? But, jeez, I digress. Going back to that hand, if we're thinking about value hands that he has, it's so thin. He has 0 3x. He has 0 besides 3s. Right? Here we're going to be betting on this flop. Should see a lot of folds. Should see a lot of folds. Calls, checking the turn. What the fuck is this? And I think we get to... I was going to say I'm going to fold the river. Such a weird hand. This guy's just absolutely raking money off of us. What the fuck? God damn it, that's such an annoying hand. But if we're thinking about hands he has for value, it's so thin. It's such a thin range, so I think that if he's going to pick his bluffs, he needs to pick them well. And that was just not a well-picked bluff at all. So we're approaching the 40-minute mark. I think I'm going to stop it right here. In a couple of hands, we're going to sit on the big blind. I apologize. This is going to be a little bit of a slower one for sure. I'm going to definitely make more of these in the future, but I need to figure out a way to make my PC a little smoother, because for you guys, it's going to be a little... I actually don't know if it's going to be a little static, but for me, it very much is. So we'll see. But thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in to this kind of long-winded, weird explanation, you know, whatever the fuck it was. Because I think the first video I had was definitely a lot more succinct, but this one is a little more long-winded, phone calls interrupting, whatever. But I appreciate it, hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one.